Okay, this here is the long-awaited assessment, and these are the answers. Okay, I'm just going to go through each one. I'm not going to take an hour. I'll just whip through them pretty quickly and give just a quick explanation. Okay, so questions. Question one, I'd put this straight into my calculator. 12, I put it in as it's written, divided by 2 minus 5. That's equal to -4 from the calculator. Now I've got 6, and I've got the x with the block next to it, x with the white square next to it, and I'm going to press 6 to the power of 4, and I can read that that is 1,296, straight from the calculator. Write down the prime number whose value is nearest to 33. Okay, so 33 is obviously not prime. 32 is not prime because it's even. 34 is not prime because it's even. So we're going to look at the next one down, which is 31 and 35. 35 is not prime because it's fact. I can check it on my calculator. I can put 35 and I can do my fact, and it gives me 5 times 7. So I know that that is 5 times 7. So that's not prime. 31 is prime, I do believe. Shift fact 31. Okay, so 31 is my answer. The cube root of 343, calculator work. Thank you very much. 343 equals 7. That means that 7 cubed equals 343. I'm just going to check that. 7 times 7 times 7, 343. Yes. Question number 2. Write 224 as a product of powers and its prime factors. Okay, now I can check it on my calculator, which I'm going to do first. 224, fact is, my answer should be 2 to the 5 times 7. But it says show your working clearly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 224. I'm going to split it into, I know it's an even number, so I can divide by 2. 2 divided by 2, that's 112. I can divide that by 2. Divide by 2, that gives me 56. I can divide that by 2. Divide by 2, and that gives me 28. That divided by 2 gives 14, and that divided by 2 gives 7. And here I can see that these are my prime factors. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 7, which is 2 to the 5 times 7. So 2 to the 5 times 7. Next one is write down 3 different factors of 224 with a sum between 99 and 110. Okay, so how can I get to a sum between 99 and 110? So I'm going to write down 7 times 2 times 2. I think this is just going to be a bit of a trial and error, really, because there's going to be different ways of doing it. 7 times 2 times 2 is 28. 7 times 2 times 2 times 2 equals 56. That's going to be a factor as well. 56 plus 28 is 84. So I need something that is greater than 15, but greater than 15 and less than 26. So I think 16 is going to work, which is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8 times 2 is times 2 equals 16. Okay. Add those together. 28 plus 56 plus 16 is 100. So that works. That's just going to be a bit of trial and error. But the important thing is knowing how to find factors of 224. And like we said before, as long as we're using those prime factors to create our factors, then these will all be factors as well. Okay, so let's carry on. Question 3. Find two common factors of 12 and 18. Factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. 18, 1, 3, 6, and 9, and 18. Common factors. 3, 6, 1. You can put 1 down as well, any of those two. So I'm going to put 3 and 6. One common multiple of 12 and 18. It just says one common multiple. So I can see that 36 is going to be a multiple because 18 times 2, but it really doesn't matter. You could just do 12 times 18 if you want. 12 times 18 is 216. Ooh. 216. That's fine. 36 is fine. 72, all fine. Okay, next one. Find the highest common factor of 3780 and 3240. Okay, so 3780 is 2 squared times 3 cubed times 5 times 7, and 3240 equals 2 cubed times 3 to the 4 times 5. Okay, so remember when we were talking about common factors, and what we could do is if we want to find the highest common factor, we draw these two circles and we put in all of our factors and we find the common factors first. So we've got a 2 and a 2. If this is my 3, 7, 80, and this is my 2, 2, 40, I've still got one more 2 left over here. That's 3 cubed, so I've also got, and this is 3 to the 4, so I've got a 3, a 3, and a 3 here. I'm also going to have a 3 over here, because I've still got that, that one there. And then I've also got a 5 that's common to both, but over here I've also got a 7. So what's going to be my highest common factor is all of those guys times together. So 2 squared times 3 cubed times 5, which equals 2 squared times 3 cubed times 5 is 540. Oh, give you an answer as a product of prime factors. Okay. Oh, that's that one there then. 2 squared times 3 cubed times 5. I mean, once you get into the hang of it, you can just read this off, because I can see I've got 2 squared. I've got 2 squared in there, so my first one's going to be 2 squared. The thing that's common to both, 3 cubed and 3 to the 4. Thing that's common to both is 3 cubed, and then times 5 and times 5. Done. Find the lowest common multiple. Okay, it's going to be that times that times that and that. So I'm going to get 2 squared times 3 cubed times 5, which is from the middle, times 7 times 2 times 3. That 2 is going to go over there. That 3 is going to join up with those, and I'm going to get 2 cubed times 3 cubed, 3 to the 4 times 5 times 7. Done. Next one. Put brackets in the following to make the calculation correct. Okay. I think this is going to be a bit of trial and error, really. I know that 2 plus 4 times 6 minus 3 equals 33, because that there is 36. Yeah, it's about seeing, I think this is just a bit of trial and error. If it says put brackets, though, you're going to have to put brackets in there somewhere. So it's going to be, it's definitely going to be something to do with the pluses or the minuses. Okay, so here we've got 2 plus 4 times 6 minus 3 equals 14. No, so I know that 2 times 7 is 14. 4, okay. Okay, there we go. Done. Yeah. 2 plus 4 times 6 minus 3. But funnily enough, you don't actually need the brackets here. But it tells you to do so. So, no. Oh, hang on. Let me think. 2 plus 4 times 6 minus 3. No, it is right. So again, that's what it's going to be. 4 times 6 minus 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So there's a little bit of guesswork, really, but because it says put brackets in, you know you're going to have to put brackets in. And because brackets only really affect adding and subtracting, I know it's not going to be 2 plus 4 times 6 minus 3. I know it's not going to be around there because that adding brackets there doesn't make any difference. Okay, work out the value of this. Okay, 20 minus 4 is 16 over 2, minus 18 over 6 minus 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. Well, that's 16 over 2, which is 8, minus 18 over 3, which is 3, which is 5. Okay, or I could just do it on your calculator, no problem. Diagram shows a quadrilateral ABCD on a grid. Lovely. Coordinates of the point B. Okay, so I go along the corridor, up the stairs, same as you've been doing since primary school. And so the coordinates of B are 4, 2. Yep, 4 on the X, 2 on the Y. D, again, along the corridor, and this time we're going down the stairs. So it's -3, -1. Oops, should be doing that over here. 4, 2, -3, -1. It says write down the mathematical name for the quadrilateral ABCD. Now, this is a bit tricky, really, because what you can actually, it doesn't look like a normal shape, but if I turn it sideways, I can't turn it sideways, I can see that that there is parallel to that one there. And then you've got 2 extra lines. So if I turn it sideways, it looks like that. Now, this is actually a type of one of these guys, which is called a trapezium. Trapezium, all you need is 2 parallel lines like that. The other lines doesn't matter. Remember, if you've got 2 parallel lines and 2 more parallel lines, that's a parallelogram. Parallelogram. And this here, these two are both called not trapeziums, trapezium. So that's the name. Spelling isn't essential. As long as it looks something like trapezium, you get your marks. C1, write down the mathematical name for the angle marked X. Ooh, mathematical name. Okay, so what type of angle is it? Well, if I look at my thing right here, that's my angle. That would be a 90-degree angle, and we know that if it's less than 90, more than 90, but less than 180, that's called an acute angle, and that's an obtuse angle. And remember, if it's greater than 180, it's called a reflex angle. Here, I can see that's less than 90, so it must be an acute angle. Measure the size of the angle marked X. Okay, well, you have to use a protractor for this one. I'm going to use a bit of trickery to do mine, and I'm going to work it out using a different area of mathematics. I'm going to use Is 60 degrees. Roughly, it's 60.25. So if you got anything between probably about 57 and 63, about that, you'd be okay. So the actual angle is 60 degrees. Okay, question 7. Here are some numbers in a list. Lovely numbers. Order of size, smallest to largest. Oh, how difficult. -8, -4, -3, 2, 5. Done. -4 plus 5 on a calculator is -4 plus 5 on a calculator is 1. Lovely. On a calculator, -8 minus brackets -3 close brackets equals -5. I love my calculator. -3 times 2 is -6. -8 divided by brackets -4 close brackets equals 2. I love my calculator. It's so lovely. Right, the temperature in Moscow is -12 degrees. The temperature in Rome is 15 degrees higher than in Moscow. Work out the temperature in Rome. Okay, so if I just draw a number line here real quick, that's 0 degrees freezing temperature. Moscow is -12. Well, the temperature in Rome is 15 degrees higher than Moscow. So that means it's 15 degrees higher than that. So I'm just going to do that on my calculator. -12 plus 15 is 3 degrees. Okay, that's 15 degrees higher. Okay, so the answer is 3 degrees. I think if you, yeah. Okay, so next work out, oh, lovely. 7 minus brackets -9 is 16. Yes. -6 times 5 is -30. Yes. Yes, it is. Write a sign in each box so that each of these statements are true. Okay, so I'm going to use plus, minus, times, or divide. Try each one of them. I'm going to do it in my calculator. I'm going to go 3 plus 6 times 4 is 27. Oh, that's good. Just works. That was the first try. Next one, I'm going to do, well, that I know that could be 27. 28 divided by 4, that doesn't really work. 3 times 6 equals 25. Maybe 3. Well, it's 24, so that could be 1. Well, if it's 28 minus 4, that would be 24, which would mean that that would need to be 1. And I can't do that. I can't get 1 with 3 plus 6, 3 minus 6, 3 times 6, or 3 divided by 6. So that can't be minus. That can't be minus. How about plus? 28 plus 4? Ooh. 28 plus 4 is 32. But I can't make that into negative anything. So it can't be plus. What about divide? 24. 28 divided by 4 is, again, this will just be a bit of trial and error, really. That's how I would do it. Okay, so divide by 4 is 7. Aha. 7, 3 times 6 is 18, plus 7 equals 25. Okay, so those are my answers. Times and divide, just through trial and error. The cube of 5 is 5 times 5 times 5, or 5 cubed. Nice and easy, 125 on a calculator. The square root of 256, straight into the calculator. Square root of 256 is 16. Here is a kite. Let's fly it. Only kidding, it's maths. Here is a kite. Write down the value of x. Well, it's a kite, so I know that the opposite side is equal. So that's 95 degrees. That's 95. And the angles in a quadrilateral add up to, that's correct, 360 degrees. So I know that 95 plus 70 plus 95 plus y equals 360. So that means 95 plus 70 plus 95, 260 plus y equals 360. Can you see what it is? I think you probably should. It's 100. Or, if you're not sure, you can just take away 260 from each side. 260 from each side, and you get y equals 100. Show you're working. Okay, next question. Diagram not accurately drawn, so you can't measure these with a protractor. Okay. Angles around a point, a whole turn is 360 degrees. So I know that W plus 96 equals 360. W plus W is 2W, plus 96 equals 360, minus 96, whoops, from both sides, minus 96, 2W equals 360 minus 96. Do that on the calculator, is 264, and then I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides, divide by 2, and it gives me 132. W equals 132. Oops, get rid of that W there, don't want that. So W equals 132. Question 10. The table shows the maximum and minimum temperatures recorded in 5 cities during 1 year. In which city was the lowest temperature recorded? Well, I'm going to look at, I can see the maximum and minimum. So looking at these numbers here, the lowest temperature is that one there. Okay, because we've got this negative sign here. So that's, look at the city is Ottawa. That's how you say it. Work out the difference between the maximum temperature and the minimum temperature recorded in New York. Okay, so it's the difference between these two numbers. If you want a way to do it, you take the larger one and you minus the smaller one, and that will give you the difference, always. If you're not sure as well, you could think of it, like I said, on a number line, right? Oops, made that one a bit longer. That's 34. That's negative 12, and the distance is the difference. Sorry, is the distance from there to there. Well, if that's 0, that distance is 12. That's 34. So we just add them together. So we get 34 minus negative 12, which I believe is 46. Just check on my calculator. 34 minus negative 12. That's 46. Yes, brain still works. In the same year, the minimum temperature recorded in Oslo was 7 degrees lower than the minimum temperature recorded in Helsinki. So in Helsinki, the minimum temperature was negative 16. Okay, that was negative 16. And this was 7 degrees lower. So 1 degree lower than negative 16 would be negative 17. So 7 degrees lower would be negative 16 minus 7, which is negative 16 minus 7, which is negative 23. Negative 23. Question 11. Write 2 to the 3 times 2 to the 4 as a single power of 2. Well, do you remember what we do? We just add them, which is 2 to the 7. 2 to the 7. Now, it'd be tempting to do that on a calculator, but if I do it on a calculator, I get 2 to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 4. That gives me 128, which is not a single power of 2. This is the correct answer. If you wrote 128, that would be wrong. Sad face. All right, let's find the answer to this one. We've got 280 equals 2n times 5 times 7. Okay, 280 times 2n times 5 times 7 is 35. So now I'm going to start start removing the layers of my onion. Peel that onion back. 280 divided by 35 is 8 equals 2n. And I'm going to divide by 2, and I'm going to get 4 equals n. So n equals 4. A lovely 4. Question 12. Okay. Now, here it says show that. So you can't just work it out on your calculator because we've already got the answer. So what we need to do is convert these to regular fractions, so not mixed fractions. We're going to convert them to a thing called vulgar fractions, which is basically a fraction which is the numerator is bigger than the denominator. So 7.5, you guys should all know that should be 15 over 2. Yeah, because that's 7 times 2 plus 1 minus 4 times 3 plus 2. That's 12. That's 14 over 3. Okay. Now, here we've got mixed, we've got different denominators. So we're going to need to be able to convert them into the same denominator. So I'm going to times this one here. I'm going to times this one here by 2. And this one here times 3. The top and the bottom. So I've got 15 times 2 over, times by 3. 15 times 3 over 2 times 3 minus 14 times 2 over 3 times 2, which is 45 over 6 minus 28 over 6. 45 minus 28 on the calculator is 17 over 6. And that equals, lo and behold, 2 and 5 over 6. Done. Show that. Okay, again, I'm just going to do, I got 5 over 6 minus 3 over 4. I'm going to times my numerator and denominator by 4 and by 6. Okay, so I'm going to get 5 times 4 over 6 times 4 minus 3 times 6 over 4 times 6, which is 20 over 24 minus 18 over 24, which is 2 over 24. I can see that I can divide both the numerator and denominator by 2 because they're both even numbers. And that gives me 1 over 12. Okay. Oh, and that's the answer. Brilliant. Question 14. More show that's. Okay. Same thing. 3 over 8 plus 5 over 24. I'm going to do it times by 24. And I'm going to times that one by 8. So I'm going to get 3 times 24 over 8 times 24 equal, what was going on? Plus 5 times 8 over 24 times 8 equals 3 times 24. Do you know the 24 times table? Because I don't. 72 over 8 times 24 is 192 plus 5 eighths. I know that. That's 40 over 192. 72 plus 40 is 112 over 192. And now I can start simplifying. Actually, I can go straight to the answer. 112. I can actually I can see that I can divide by 16 on both the top and the bottom. But you can, if you want, you can just go divide by 2, divide by 2, divided by 2, divided by 2, and keep going round. But you can actually just go straight to the answer there. Okay. So, question 15. Same again. 3 over 4 plus 4 over 5 equals, I'm going to times this one by 5 and this one by 4. And I get 3 times 5 over 4 times 5 plus 4 times 4 over 4 times 5 is 15 over 20 plus 16 over 20 equals 31 over 20, which equals 1 and 11/20. Yes, done. Any more? That's it. I hope you've enjoyed this riveting and exciting journey through the assessment of the week, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you have any questions, leave them on Shobi. Cheers.